What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis video. Okay guys, a couple things I want to talk about today. Most importantly, the stances and how they work and why there are certain ways to maximize your DPS if you use properly, as well as maximize your healing potency if done right. So I want to show you guys how it works because a lot of you may not know this, and I think it may change the way you approach the game and how you can push more DPS through your characters, as well as maybe have better survivability. But before we do that, real quick, just so you guys are aware, the 7.7 blue crystals have been split and provided. I believe it was 1.9 if I remember correctly. Let me just double check. Is there a history button? There is. Here it is. Yeah, 1.9 amongst all players for the 3 days or 4 days. It's been 3 days, I think 4 days now, that people have joined. Now you guys obviously know that many others have obviously jumped on to the game. I'm assuming they've counted alts, they've probably counted off secondary accounts. So I mean, listen, 1.9 is still pretty damn good. I'll take it. I thought it was just going to be a lot more than that, but obviously a lot more people have joined the game since then because of its release. And that's normal. That's Gacha Gaming life. It is what it is, right? Now, back to what we are here for. Stances. I want to talk about this because I think some people don't understand how it works, or that there are two different effects to look at. So we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at offensive stance or attack stance, and we're going to look at defensive stance and how they function, and lastly, how to maximize them, right? So let's go to the training quest. We're going to do this right now. We'll go on to the EXP one here. Let me just quickly, they gave us a lot of free bottles, so that made me really happy. I got to go farm some more of those events to finish it off to get my last two parasols, but we'll do this here just so you guys can kind of see how it all works. Actually, you know what? No, you know what? We'll go do the event. I think it makes more sense because the event at least is just a boss, and I can show you guys the damage difference between the two stances, one that's done right versus done incorrectly. So we'll go into here, okay, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here. I think it's a pretty important thing to note, and we'll do this one here since it gives the actual stamina, and we'll do ×4. So this is the team I use, same team as usual, nothing changes here, but we'll do the offensive stance first so you guys understand it, and then we'll do the defensive stance and how that works as well, okay? And I think by fully utilizing these two stances, it'll probably change the way you play the game a tad bit. Auto does a really good job, to be honest, but I think this is going to help. Now, if you look here, the attack is 25%, 25%, and then 1 and 1, right? Right there. This all abilities destroy sigils, and then it's 1. Now, see how this bar is going up, right? You're going to see what happens shortly when it gets to the end, and that's where it gets really important, all right? So when it gets to that last bit of the sigil, or the stance, sorry, you're going to see a fairly big difference, okay? Look at that, 50, 50, all sigils destroyed, and now you get the +2 in the sigil destructions rather than +1. So we've now increased the damage like up to 25% on both things, right? So that's why attack stance is so important. Sometimes it's better off to let this thing build before you do your specials. Like now it's back to 25, 25, but look, once you do that, it goes back to 50, and this maintains throughout, right? Now, if you go back to defense stance, it works a little different. It's -30, and then 50%, right? Now I'm going to show you guys how this one goes in a sec. Let's put Aerith on here because she's usually on defensive stance. There it is. Okay, so you can see how back and forth, she's now back at 25, 25, now it's back to 50, okay? So he's about to do this move right now. That's going to hurt. I'm going to switch over to here, use my healing potency, or at least my protect, to keep Barrett hopefully alive. Yeah, we did, okay? And then you see there how it went back? You got to make sure this lights up before you do your special, because if you don't, you end up losing that extra bonus. Now, the way this works, I'm going to take auto off for a sec, okay? Just give me a sec here. I'll show you guys how this one works. This starts going down instead. See how before it was all the way up? And so watch what happens when it goes all the way down. Let me just keep everybody alive. It's the opposite. You lose the effects, okay? So it works differently for both. See, you got to start this over again. So it's very important, guys, to note that when you're doing your stances, make sure for defensive stance, you're in there only when you need to be in there, or else you're going to lose the entire amount. If you lose the defensive stance and you're out of it, you're out of offensive stance for too long, you've got to rebuild it again, okay? So that 25% bonus to your damage plus the extra bonus to the sigil break, the extra bonus is a make or break situation for a lot of players, because there's going to be some content where you're just scraping by, and if you're not doing it correctly, there's going to be a point where you're not going to be able to finish things because you're lacking the DPS. So this battle stance sometimes is worth actually doing on your own and understanding it. So what I suggest sometimes is, instead of going to auto right away, let your bar completely build on offensive stance or your attack stance, and then put auto on, and auto should take care of it for you. Because look what happens right now. Like, it's going to start doing moves before the stance. But if I take this off, let the stance build up all the way before even doing one of your specials, and you'll see a 25% difference in damage, right? So watch, see, turn that off, put it back on now. Now you should see Thunderstrike do a lot more damage there instead of what it was doing before. This is an easy tactic to do. Now, when it comes down to auto, when you turn it back on, auto is actually very smart in defensive mode. It'll only go to defensive mode when it's doing one of two things. Number one, when it's about to take a hit from a special, from a boss or an enemy. Very smart and intuitive about that, so I'll give them credit. Or secondly, it goes back and forth when it's going to be doing a heal of some sort, right? So the Aerith probably just went to defensive side. Let's watch Aerith. I think it's a good example to watch here. So let me go to Aerith for a sec. Okay, so look, she's going to be an offense. She switches to defense as soon as she does her special. And look, the bar went back down quickly, right? Look, and now you got to make up for it. So that's why it's important not to stay in your defensive stance. Because if you, like, this will stay the whole time as long as you're in it. But the moment you go to defense and the defense bar goes down, the attack bar also goes down. So you've got to make up for that. So remember that. Don't stay in defense stance the whole time just because you're trying to survive. Go back and forth and time it correctly so you're not losing that bar too quickly and then, losing 25% of your DPS for a long period of time. So try to avoid doing that, guys. It's a very simple method. Again, turn auto off, let it fully build, do your specials, turn auto back on, and auto will take care of itself at that point. But I just want to point out, a lot of people didn't know that extra 25% when the bar is at the top and how the bar works. So again, when defensive stance goes down, attack stance also goes down with it. So just let auto do its switch, or you can do it manually yourself if you rather control it. A lot of people do prefer playing manual just because they feel more immersed into the game. But I hope that helps you guys out. I was just making sure that some people were asking me like how it worked because they noticed the bar, and I just want to explain how it goes up and down, how it stays, how it's controlled, and what the stat differences are when you're using the proper stances at the right time. Alright guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.